Hey, most golfers make 3 huge driver mistakes. You watching at home, I'll bet you're making at least one of these, and it's preventing you from hitting longer, straighter drives and getting lower scores. So let's get into it right after this. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. So if you're struggling with consistency off the tee, here's the first thing I would check for. Number one, make sure that you are swinging the club and the arms around the body, not just back on the backswing and coming back to the ball, but also have enough around the body in the follow through. So if you take a stick like this, put it at the ball line and extend it out into space, let's lift it up a little bit like this. So that's about a 45-degree angle or so. What we're after is to make sure that the club and the arms stay underneath this, back and coming down, but also, I'll switch hands here. Imagine now another stick at 45 degrees out in front of you, and now you got to keep swinging back around the body again. So most golfers out there who struggle with consistent accuracy will make one of two mistakes that deviate off of that. Either they will break over the top of that 45-degree stick coming down, or the move of a better golfer, they won't break the stick back or coming back down again, but where they'll break the stick is in the follow through, something like this. Instead of staying under the stick and turning and going back onto the front stick again. So swinging around the body more, lower and around rather than up like a Ferris wheel is a mistake often made, even by good golfers. Now, a second major error that even really good golfers have a tough time is standing up or popping up through the impact zone. So look at the angle that I'm starting here. I'm starting at kind of a nice crisp, roughly 30-degree angle. Got the buttocks out to back to counteract the weight going over my head. So really the weight on my feet is kind of in the saddles. It's not heel or toe. It's kind of right under my ankles. Really balanced. However, that's an easy part, but most golfers who struggle with driver greatly deviate from this original setup posture. They will crowd it, so the head will go up and back, the pelvis will push forward, and just a cascading series of events will happen here that's going to cause you both a loss of power and especially control. You're unlikely to hit 3 drives in a row that are really straight and look the same. Of course, there's going to be some deviation off of this, but you'd really like to come back fairly close to this initial hip flexion. It's the whole reason for the good setup. All that work you're doing on the setup is to give you a fighting chance going through impact. So look at also the height of the shaft. It's about, I'd say somewhere around 40 to 45 degrees here. So my goal is to bring this back about the same. Now, there's no question, even the best golfers in the world, they get a little bit taller on the driver through impact, and the shaft deviates maybe up to 5 degrees. Some of the best drivers you can name, closer to 50 degrees with the driver. And a lot of funny things happen when a lot of outwards pulling force is introduced with the high speed of a golf swing. Now, a good drill you can do to start building a better impact zone with the posture not standing up would be get a mirror behind you down the line like that. And what you're just going to do is just set up with the driver, take a back swing to here, and just try to return it back to the same again. Then when you get to the range, you can turn that into some tiny swings, barely even halfway back, almost a putting stroke through the ball, and you're simply trying to return the body and the shaft back where it started. So use your kinesthetic sense of awareness. Feel how high the shaft is and how much the butt's back, and just simply mirror it on some baby shots. And over time, you'll start to build a better habit. The third major error I see, even single-digit handicap golfers that I teach a lot of, is the way that they square the face. The big error here is introducing shaft roll. This is how a lot of people, they're taking their hands and they're rolling the shaft to cause the club face to square up. But you can see the inherent nightmare scenario is that you never will be very much on time. A lot of times you'll be either too late or too early. And that amount of play as you're, see the wrist action, what I'm doing is I'm rolling the shaft around itself. Can you see that? I'm doing this. Doesn't give you a ton of club head speed because it doesn't advance the club around the arc. Now, in an absolute nightmare situation where somebody is simply hitting the ball off the planet to the right and they need a really immediate fix, I might tell them to start introducing some of this, but I will also give it the asterisk, say this is going to work for you now up till a point, but you're going to hit a plateau and you're going to maybe introduce a right and a left miss down the road. So there's a caveat to that. But overall, instead of twisting the shaft to make the club face square, which a lot of people still even do, they'll hold the club and then they'll twist it. And that's their release. And man, those people have a really hard time getting either distance or accuracy. But instead, you can simply flap the wrist. Now, look at this logo on the top of the shaft. Nice blue logo. Can you see here that is no twist at all? Now, you see what I'm doing here is I'm flapping the wrists instead, this way, and all through the impact zone, that logo stays perfectly upwards facing you, facing the sky, and we're going to get much less play in the club face through the impact zone. Now, if you can make all three of these moves and train yourself, it'll be a grind, but it'll be worth it. If you can swing more around, low and around, and underneath that imaginary 45-degree line on both sides, and maintain the same level of shaft and hip flexion with the pelvis maintaining this way, and then you can flap that club through with that logo of the shaft staying constantly up like this. Do all those three things and you will be, no doubt, the longest and straightest driver that you know. So hopefully this will help you identify one of your main driver flaws, because one of these three, almost everybody's got at least one of these three, and a lot of people have all three. Now, in your efforts to improve these aspects of your swing, please feel free to hit me up in the comments section with any questions or concerns you might have, or maybe tell me if you don't have one of these three major flaws, maybe you have invented your own unique one that's really driving you nuts, and of course I would love to help you try to cure that. All right, I'm going to get back and work some more on these three principles. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Steve. I hope today I have earned a like and subscribe. And as usual, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.